Hey everyone, it's Brandy. I don't really have much of an update as far as TTC goes. I am in my, I guess, revving up for the frozen transfer cycle, which will occur mid of next month, so about a month away from here. I will tell you that birth control, I've been on it for a week now, and normally my birth control, 2 or 3 days into it, I normally feel okay with it, but I'm still queasy and just, I don't feel good with it. And I really just hope I don't ever have to do this again, because the birth control is what gets to me. I can take all the injections in the world, I can do the suppositories, I can do the other medication, but the birth control really just, it doesn't settle well with me. But luckily, and thank Jesus, I only have 2 weeks of it, so I've 1 week down and I've got 1 week to go. And then today is the 12th of August, Tuesday, so I will start my Lupron today, and I will continue the Lupron all the way through, I believe, through my cycle until I'm ready to transfer. The only other thing that I have to do is the estradiol and then a couple other oral medications. But other than that, everything seems to be going great. So yeah, but to kind of just give you guys a little something to view, because I really don't have, like I said, an update. I wanted to go ahead and do this IVF tag, which our IVF journey, she had done this a couple weeks ago, and I've been meaning to do it, but I haven't had a chance, just with everything going on. And I know she did it with her partner, so he got to answer a little bit, but my husband is not here. He is super busy, but he did write down his answers to his questions, which I lost a piece of paper, but I do remember what he said, so I will definitely answer for him or answer combined. So let's get started, and I'll try not to jump ahead too much, because I tend to kind of tell stories when I kind of flow into the next question, not meaning to. So first, how did you and your spouse partner meet? My husband and I met at a party. He was the DJ, and it was just a random, like a friend of ours, he had a house party. So my husband was the DJ at the time. I was also with someone else at the time. So even though, we knew each other, I wasn't interested at that time. When me and my boyfriend had split up, that's when we started hanging out, and it kind of went on from there. We were friends, I guess, and we hung out a lot for about a year and a half before my husband actually called me his girlfriend or said that we were dating. He loved him to death, and he's a planner, and he's super busy. He's got a full-time job, plus he's got his DJing job, and he just needed to make sure that I could hang with his schedule, because that had been an issue in his previous relationships, was he was not able to give the girlfriend enough of his time, and it just didn't work out. So after a year and a half of me showing him that, hey, I don't need you to be clingy to me 24/7, I like my space, we finally became boyfriend and girlfriend, and then a few years later we got engaged, and a couple years later we got married. So that's how we met. And number two, how long did you TTC before finding out something was wrong? We actually tried, before we found out something was wrong, we tried for a year after our marriage. We got married May 2012, and we immediately started trying as soon as we got married. We tried, but we didn't really try. Like, I wasn't taking temps, I wasn't monitoring anything, but we didn't prevent. And the only reason why we didn't try super hard was because we were going to Vegas the following year, in February 2013, and although I would have loved to have been pregnant, we were going with a whole bunch of people, and I didn't want to be the only one that couldn't drink and go have a good time and whatnot. So we tried, and I would have been super stoked if I had gotten pregnant, but we weren't really trying that hard. So, but after Vegas, though, we were trying really hard for those few months, until it's probably May or June of 2013 is when I was reading online and finding out that, hey, if you've been trying or not been preventing anyway for 6 months or more, then you might need to see a specialist. So I didn't go to a specialist right away. I went to my OBGYN who put me on Clomid, and you know, he double checked everything. Everything was working fine. You know, my cycles, they're like clockwork. I ovulate about the same time every month. I have Aunt Flo come visit me same time every month, and you know, the only time she didn't visit is if I had a cyst, and you know, that was once in a blue moon type ordeal. So that being said, we went on Clomid and we tried naturally for about 5 months, 5 cycles of Clomid, and then after that didn't work, we ended up seeing a RE, which is a specialist locally, and he suggested IUIs. We weren't thrilled about that. Like, well, I was okay with it, but my husband was not, and it caused a lot of arguments between us, and that's something, you know, that happens. I'm on the fence of going, hey, let's get this going. Something must be wrong. We need to get going. And then he's saying, no, maybe it's just not our time yet. It'll happen when it happens. So we ended up taking about a 3-month break from medications and everything, and we just tried naturally. And we made a compromise that we would try IUIs in January if we did not conceive before then. We did not conceive, and so we did our first IUI January, our second IUI February, and then about that time I was a little fed up with the local doctor. He wasn't monitoring me as much as other people's doctors had monitored them, and he wasn't really giving me any advice. My husband didn't like his bedside manner whatsoever, so we ended up reaching out to Charlottesville, which is 2 hours away from us, because that's where some friends went, and we've heard great things. So we did 2 IUIs with them, and then we moved on to IVF. So, you know, and we just found out our problem, our last IVF cycle, so about 2.5 years, I think. It's been a long 2.5 years. So what was your diagnosis? Well, we were stuck in the We were stuck in the unexplained infertility category, because everything on me was working correctly. Everything on my husband's side, his swimmers, they were amazing. His count was excellent, above excellent. His mobility was excellent. The morphology was excellent. So there really was no reason why it wasn't happening. So we were pushed into that. We did find out after our first IVF that is a fertilization problem. So one of us is missing a receptor piece. But we don't know who. And that's kind of a good thing, you know, that way we can't point fingers at each other if we got angry or whatnot, which I'm sure we would never do, but it's still a good thing. That way I don't feel guilty, because I know that it may be him. So, and I think a lot of females have that guilt that it's them, and then you come to find out it's your husband, or vice versa. So we are actually sharing the responsibility of guilt, I guess, with each other. We're sharing that. So yeah, they put the eggs in the petri dish and put the swimmers, and all they did was swim around the egg like it was just another cell, like it didn't even recognize it. So again, we don't know who it is, but that's our issue. We cannot conceive unless we do IVF. That is the only way we can conceive. You know, miracles happen though, so I mean, I guess it is possible, but as of right now, you know, with the science that's there, we have been told we can't conceive on our own. What is your TTC plan? Well, we have, when we planned on trying to conceive, we figured we would go through the motions of trying naturally, then trying the medication, then trying IUIs and IVF, which we have done. If for some reason, if IVF doesn't work for us, you know, we have explored other options like a surrogate. You know, what if I need an egg donor? I don't foresee us needing a sperm donor, but if that was the case, you know, that would be something I would have to discuss with my husband in detail, because I'm not so worried about the child being of my blood as I am of his blood, only because, and this, you know, my family's large, but his family's super small. Like, literally, he's got 2 uncles, his brother, and his mother alive. So, other than that, he doesn't have much family. And so I would really, really like, and he's from Ukraine. Well, his family is. So, I would really, and they're very tight-knit family. And I just feel like, you know, his brother already had a child. So we're going to have a child, and we want a few, and we just kind of want to keep passing his name down, if that makes sense. And we do want his bloodline, you know, because you don't want that bloodline to dwindle down. I don't think anybody wants their bloodline to dwindle down. And so yeah, I don't, if it came down to a sperm donor, I don't know how we would do that. But we have also talked about adoption, and that's something we would look into, definitely. One way or another, we're going to have a child, whether it be our own or an adoption. So, you know, that's our plan, and we're just going to take it step by step and figure out what, you know, as we go. Where are you in your TTC journey is number 5. We are actually on IVF. We just finished IVF number 2, and we've got 3 embryos that are frozen, and they're great embryos. And I am currently taking medication for the cycle. So I'm on my birth control. I'm going to start the Lupron, and then I'll go on the estradiol. My husband has it easy this time around. He doesn't have to go up and give his sample or anything. It's all there waiting for us. So as LaQuisha's husband says, our babies are literally chilling right now. And we're really excited about that. So we are just waiting for our frozen cycle transfer. That's where we're at. Number 6, what's the hardest, saddest part of the IVF TTC journey? I have some friends that are kind of going through the same TTC journey and having some letdowns. And I can tell you that looking back, the hardest thing was having patience. I have, over the 2.5 years, I have gained patience. You know, so when the doctor said, hey, look, we're going to have to wait 6 weeks before we implant these, I said, okay, that's fine. I was not upset about it. You know, I know it's going to happen. So that was one of the hardest things, was patience, just being patient and dealing with the doctors. Probably the birth control was really hard as well. And then, of course, with anybody who's trying to conceive, especially female, each month that you try to conceive and it's a failed cycle, it hurts. It breaks your heart. Even now, I would say each IUI, it got a little easier for me only because I knew we had a plan. If we did not have a plan, or if we could not have done IVF, or, you know, if I knew that it was the end of the line, I would probably be more devastated at the end of each cycle. As far as my husband, I asked him what was the hardest thing, and he jokingly said that it was giving his sample, which, you know, and again, he's joking but at the same time, it is hard for a man. I mean, it's really hard for a man to go into a doctor's office and have to do that. I can only imagine how embarrassed they might feel, or awkward, and, you know, no man wants to have to do that. But it's easy for him now. Like, he does it. He's a pro, and I hate to say it, but he is, because he's done it so many times, and it doesn't bother him anymore. So that's a plus. He did mention that the hardest and saddest part of it was watching me having to do injections, watching me going through my emotional roller coaster ride, you know, seeing how exhausted I was traveling from, you know, back and forth to Charlottesville, and at one point I was going on a daily visit up there, plus coming back and going to work. So he definitely mentioned that it was really hard to see, you know, me going through that, but it also, you know, kind of proved to him that I'm a strong female and I'm going to make a great mother. So that was very sweet of him. Number 7, what's the happiest, easiest part of your IVF journey? The happiest part is probably knowing that we have 3 embryos frozen right now. This is the furthest we've ever been. So I've never ever been pregnant before, and so this is another step closer to that. And so I'm very super excited about that part of it. The easiest part, it's not easy. There is no easy part. I could say my husband's part was easy, but again, to him it wasn't as easy, you know. But I don't know. My husband mentioned that the happiest and easy part of him was, of course, he didn't have to do anything besides go up and give a sample. Because I did all the footwork. I did all the, you know, call into doctors. I don't even know if he's ever spoken to my doctor before, as far as like over the phone. But I did all the appointments, even his appointments, I did them. I drove when we went up. I drove most of the time. Yeah, he didn't have to miss work because you know, he was only needed once a month. That's where I was missing work all the time and had to make up that time. So as far as the happiest, easiest part, I'm not gonna lie, there is no easiest part. The happiest part will probably be, you know, the end result. I think. So yeah. And number 8, what advice would you give women, men, or couples just beginning this journey? The advice that I've given my friends who have just begun this journey as well is that have patience. It's rough, I know, and I know, you know, 2-week waits are hard, but just have patience. It's gonna happen when it's time to happen. So, but at the same time, you need to move forward and make sure that you're getting all the best care you can as well. So research your doctors. Anyone who's in my local area, I automatically tell them to go to Charlottesville. And the 2 people that went to the 2 people, they're friends of mine, they actually went to this local doctor first. And I said, go get a second opinion. Go to the local doctor, then go to Charlottesville. They went to the local doctor. He gave them some BS information, and then they went to Charlottesville, and they love Charlottesville. You know, if you are going through IUIs, some doctors don't monitor you as well as other doctors, and I would say get the best monitoring that you have. Find a doctor that's going to do all the tests possible, and just, it's hard to enjoy the ride, but try to enjoy the ride. Try to see why you're going through this. Everything happens for a reason. I can look back and say, this happened because, and I know why it happened. It brought me and my husband closer. It's definitely brought me closer to God. I just don't worry about it anymore. It's going to happen when He wants it to happen. As far as my husband's advice, he just says that, you know, for the men, definitely be there to support your wives, especially when they're emotional. And luckily for him, I didn't go through hormonal issues with the medication, but, you know, I did go through some emotional issues as far as being sad, you know, if it failed and whatnot, and he was definitely there to support me. And you know, a lot of men, and he said this the same is, at first he was not into it at all, going further than trying naturally. He did not want to spend that money. But after he spoke with some people who's been going through the same thing, he realized that it's an issue. And if he wants kids, we need to figure out what was going on. Had we have not done everything to and make it to IVF, we would have never known that it was the fertilization problem. So, you know, for all the men out there, again, just support your wives, and you know, you'll make it happen. But don't just think it's gonna happen when it happens, because that's not the case. There might be something wrong. Again, I think it's like 1 in 8 couples have infertility issues. Well, I can tell you that, including me, I have a good friend, 2 good friends actually, that have infertility issues. That's 3 of us in a really close circle. So just imagine, it's horrible. But yeah, I would definitely just say that. I guess that's it. If anyone has any questions about my journey, please just write them below and I'll get to them as soon as possible. TTCing is hard, especially when you have an issue, but it will happen. One way or another, it will happen. Whether you have your own child, whether you adopt, or whether you just come to that aha moment that, you know what, I don't want children, I want to pursue something else. So, and it will take time to get there, but I do really believe everything happens for a reason. So, thank you for LaQuisha for doing this tag and letting me do it on my page. This is really informational for sure, and I'll definitely keep everyone updated on my IVF frozen transfer. Like I said, it's got about a month, but I've got some things keeping me busy, so I'm very excited, and I'll try to blog some things here and there. It may not be updating on TTC, but maybe it's just some fun stuff. So until next time, ladies, baby dust to everybody. I know a few people have already got their BFPs from IVF. Congratulations, super congratulations. We've got a couple people going to their frozen transfer soon. Good luck, fingers crossed to everyone. And then we've got a few people who are just starting out with IVF. So if anyone, again, have any questions, leave them below, and I'm sure if I can't answer them, with the amount of people that follow me, I'm sure they'll be able to help answer them as well. So let's just be a team and help each other out, okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye.